Welcome to the Executive Eye by DRI, your lens into the world of executive leadership. Here, we bring you sharp insights, clear perspectives, and focused discussions on the trends shaping the future of business. Join us as we explore what's in view for today's leaders and tomorrow's innovators.
Welcome to another episode of the Executive Eye podcast. Today we have two incredible guests joining us. First, we have David Peterson, Managing Partner and Practice Leader of Packaging, Plastics, and Specialty Chemicals at Direct Recruiters. With years of experience in high-level recruitment across these specialized industries, David has built a reputation for connecting top talent with leading companies in these sectors. Joining David is Josh Olgin, Managing Partner and Practice Leader of Robotics at Direct Recruiters. Josh is a leader in recruiting for robotics, automation, and technology, helping to match the best candidates with the most forward-thinking companies. Both David and Josh recently attended Pack Expo, one of the largest trade shows in the packaging and robotics industry. Today they're here to share their insights from the event, discuss the latest trends, and explore how the packaging and robotics sectors are evolving. Welcome, David and Josh.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
We're excited to have you. Let's jump right in. So, David, this year's Pack Expo seemed to have a very positive atmosphere. From your perspective, what factors are driving this upbeat energy in the packaging industry?
Okay, great. So factors I think driving up energy and Pack Expo specifically is first, I think trade shows are continuing to pick up momentum and steam. I've been to a couple this year, and I think each one I go to, the vibe continues to be very positive. They tend to be getting more attended. The booths are very populated when we're there, so that drives a lot of enthusiasm too when the vendors there are busy. I also think that Pack Expo has always been a great venue for companies looking to showcase new technologies, explore new markets, look forward to growth opportunities. Trade shows are generally an upbeat, positive vibe. That's why everyone is there, and I think this year, specifically with sustainability and automation, which Josh will talk about, there's a lot of reasons to be excited right now in the packaging business.
Wonderful. And Josh, robotics is a fast-evolving field with a big presence at Pack Expo. How did the excitement around automation and robotics compare to past events? And did you notice any new trends?
So a couple big things that I noticed there was probably a robot in almost every booth that I stopped by in some fashion or another, whether it's for packaging, palletizing, material handling, primary packaging, secondary packaging. Robotics are being used for a number of different reasons, but the amount of robotics that I saw in booths, not just in the robotics side, but in all of the whole show, was fascinating this year.
That's really cool. So, David, with more attendees relying on badge scanning over business cards, did this change your networking experience at all?
That's a great question, too. So I've talked to others about this. Maybe I'm a little old school, but I like collecting business cards. I always did. As a kid, I collected baseball cards and football cards. So I've always been like a card collector. I like the idea. And I like the idea of meeting someone, we shake their hand, we exchange the business card, hold the business card, look at it. I think that that's a lot more personable than, here's scan my badge. So I don't think it affects the quality of the conversations, maybe a little bit of the human interaction. And again, I like the business cards. I like that whole interaction, but we need to change with the times. Technology's here, and before you know it, it'll be a robot scanning us anyway, which Josh knows all about. So those are my thoughts.
So, Josh, in the tech-driven world of robotics, what was your impression of the networking dynamic at the show? Were there any unique or memorable connections that stood out for you?
Yeah, so one of the things that I had an opportunity to do was Monday evening, I was invited to a happy hour for one of my clients. And the networking that happens after hours, when you get a chance to see people with their, they kind of let their guard down a little bit. Everyone's kind of enjoying an adult beverage. But it was more so when they get the chance to see you outside of the whole trade show where everybody's just kind of like a person, which was very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So, David, Pack Expo covered a huge amount of ground across different materials and applications. Were there any innovations in packaging that really stood out to you?
Innovations in packaging that I saw. Yeah, I'd say I noticed a large presence of molded fiber exhibitors there, and as well as bioresins. And while it's not necessarily new technology or innovation, companies are continuing, whether it's paper, plastic, fiber, molded fiber, everyone is looking for ways to become more sustainable, as sustainability is in the forefront recycling of the world. So I did notice a lot of molded fiber, as I said, booths. And of course, as Josh has mentioned several times, the automation is just terrific and super interesting to see there. Those were some of the things I noticed.
Josh, robotics and automation were major highlights. Did you come across any groundbreaking technologies in robotics that you think could reshape the packaging sector?
So one of the things that I noticed in what comes along with robotics is the end of arm tooling, like the grippers. So there are a lot of there's grippers that can do primary packaging and secondary packaging. So the grippers have the ability to touch and pick up an egg. So the amount of technology that goes into making a gripper that can pick up an egg and not break it, or a piece of chicken breast and or something like that, and hold it with the courtesy of not breaking it or damaging it or hurting it or harming anything around it, the it's fascinating, and the excitement continues to grow, and the ability for robotics automation and controls, not just the robot itself but the grippers and everything else. It's very, very cool.
No, Josh, did they have many demos of the robotics at Pack Expo so that you
Yes.
were able to see firsthand?
Yeah,
That's
so
very
there was
cool.
a robot in almost every booth that I attended, and it was integrated with the packaging and or material handling companies that were using it. So the robotics are sometimes agnostic, but some of the things that separate the robotics from everything else is their software, is their ability to perform and be able to pick out other items when they're going to pick out a certain item. So the vision systems in the software, from what I see, is just getting better and better.
That's very cool. David, although the industry is doing well, there are still challenges. What would you say are the main obstacles companies are currently facing in the packaging sector?
Yep, great question. Well, if we had been doing this the day of the show, I would have said one of the obstacles is the upcoming election. Like everyone just waiting for the election. Um, and now that's over, so hopefully we can all start to move forward. Plans that have been put on hold will start coming to fruition and so forth. But I think that was one of the main obstacles, especially this year. Another obstacle that a lot of companies are facing is human capital gaps. I mean, I picked that up as I met with executives, and that's at all levels, from the shop floor to the executives. There is still a shortage of talent, a lack of talent in the packaging business that needs to be addressed. And really, there's three pillars of a business. You have people, process, and technology, and you have to have great people to make those other pillars work. So those are some of the obstacles and challenges that will be overcome this year.
David, you mentioned sustainability earlier, and that seems to be a buzzword within the packaging sector. Could you expand on what you're seeing as sustainability relates to packaging?
Yeah, sure. And I mentioned a little earlier, bioresins, biodegradable resins, molded fiber. Again, the paper, the plastic companies, everyone is looking for innovations in their material to make the planet more sustainable. There's a big push for it. A lot of the brand owners are pushing for it. Everybody wants a uh, a nicer, cleaner, more sustainable planet, and it's nice to see everyone trying to work together to accomplish that goal.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, Josh, as the robotics field advances, what challenges do you think companies will need to tackle to keep up with the pace of innovation?
So again, I kind of alluded earlier to talking about like the software and the vision systems that are out there, and every time I go to a trade show and you have the ability to see a robot at work and have the ability to go in and pick out a certain item. So the way that the robotics are working right now, especially in post and parcel, but also in food and beverage and picking out items, is their vision systems. It's the software and the vision system and the robotic, everything being integrated into one, so it functions as one complete system.
Fantastic. So, David, with so many halls to navigate, how did you manage your time and energy at such a large scale event? And any tips for future attendees?
Yep, tips would be the same I would share for people colleagues that travel with me too. After being to a lot of trade shows over a lot of years, travel light. Want to minimize anything because again, we're walking the show. So without having a booth, Josh and I and the others who are there, we're walking 20, 30,000 steps a day. Travel light. Don't have anything heavy, backpacks, anything like that are heavy. Wear comfortable shoes. Must wear comfortable shoes. One thing that this Pack Expo taught my body, is I am not getting any younger. So that's something to consider if you're walking the show. Go to booths that have great carpeting. Even a few minutes standing on someone's carpeting and getting off the cement floor is very appreciative. I like to use a show planner also to pre-plan like where I'm going. And another tip would be, with so many halls, I've learned through the years too, try to get meetings in similar locations, because there are times where I'm going from the North Hall to the Lakeside to the West Hall to the South, and it's just so chaotic. So trying to get planned meetings and in the same halls or areas is some great tips that I've learned and try to implement now.
Josh, do you have any additional tips for attendees?
100% get comfortable shoes. Don't get dress shoes and you're breaking them in on the first time. You got to have really comfortable shoes. I agree with David where we talked about, travel light. For whatever reason, I like to carry a backpack on me when I go. It allows me to bring some water with me, and you got to make sure you're drinking all day. I think we walked 30,000 steps one day. In McCormick Place in Chicago is enormous. So there's the North Hall, there's the Lakeside Hall, there's the West, there's the South. So if you can plan your visit and plan your meetings accordingly and get them done accordingly, you'll be in great shape.
Fantastic. So, Josh, after long days at the expo, what did you find most rewarding about attending this year's event?
So this was I believe my 11th or 12th Pack Expo. And when you're in the industry, and what I do is I'm friends with these people. So it was just like, seeing old friends that you haven't seen in a while, getting a chance to shake hands, looking at people, understanding what they do, understanding what their needs are, their wants are, i.e. where they want to be, and just seeing your industry in front of you at work. There's nothing better.
That's fantastic. Were there any takeaways that you feel will shape your approach going forward?
I would say AI in my industry is going to overtake a number of things. And it's interesting because I heard so many people talking about AI in robotics, AI in induction, AI in post and parcel picking, and AI is just really coming into its own. I see that is going to be a major, major part in the future for robotics, automation, and controls.
I would agree with that 100%. I think that's a huge buzzword and a huge trend of 2024, and that will just continue into the future years.
And it never stops. I mean, I'm constantly learning. Every time I go to a trade show, I get a chance to learn more, see more, and understand more.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think AI is one of those things that you can continually learn about, and it's always improving and always getting better. So I'm really excited to see where the future of AI takes us.
Absolutely.
So, David, based on this year's event, what are your predictions for where the packaging industry is headed in the next year?
Predictions. Well, I'm not giving away all my secrets, but I think, this is such a great tag team with Josh, because clearly one prediction is the continued adoption of automation into the companies I work, the rigid packaging, the labels, the flexible packaging. It's just automation. He talked about being robot being able to hold the egg. Well, that egg gets put into a package. It
Mhm.
just ties in. So continued adoption of automation. I think there's going to be clearly a continued focus on sustainability. This is just going to continue, and new technology, new ideas, new trends will continue to make products more sustainable. I think we're going to see more M&A activity. That should be exciting. I'm hoping that's a good positive for the industry. And the continued quest to just find the most talented, brightest people out there for their teams and companies to help them achieve their goals.
Yeah.
Those are some
Uh,
predictions.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I definitely agree with those. I think for sure, especially the talent portion, being recruiters yourself and leading recruiting teams, that's a really important aspect of these trade shows and of your industries.
I have a few more, but you'll have to call me to get those. So,
See?
yeah,
Wonderful. See?
yeah,
So if anybody's listening, make sure
that's
you
right.
you call David to get ahead for all the packaging sectors. So, Josh, if you could offer one piece of advice, or maybe a couple, to those in robotics or automation planning to attend a Pack Expo or in another industry trade show in the future, what would it be?
Do do your homework. Make
Hmm.
sure make sure you understand, what the company does, what they're about, how
Mhm.
they do certain things, but really, you know, what it is about the trade show, what it is about the companies that you want to see at the trade show. Don't just kind of go in there guessing, but really do your homework.
Yeah, fantastic.
Mhm.
So, David, trade shows like Pack Expo are still considered essential in the industry. How do
Mhm.
you think events like this contribute to the growth and innovation of the packaging sector, especially in a world that's increasingly digital?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that the simple answer for me is, even with all of the digital technology and platforms and what we're doing here today, there is still nothing can beat the value. I'm going to tie it into an earlier answer of being at a trade show, shaking hands with someone, getting their business card, and having that conversation. These trade shows will continue because we have a quest to a desire to see each other in person. That just can't be replaced. Everything else enhances our industries and ways to communicate, but nothing will replace that ability to be with colleagues, friends, customers, prospects, the human touch, and again, in my case, getting a business card. So,
I think we definitely saw the return or the need for in-person events and trade shows, especially
for
after
sure.
COVID. I
Hmm.
think, especially being a relationship-focused search firm, it's so important for you guys to make those touch points with your clients
Absolutely.
and with the candidates that you've worked with in the past at these trade shows.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Josh, with so much of business moving online, do you still see a significant value in attending trade shows like Pack Expo?
Oh, no question. I mean, when David had spoke about like shaking hands and getting business cards, and I mean, like Zoom and everything was good during COVID, but there's nothing better than having somebody come, into your office and shake your hand. I don't want to see everybody on video, but especially at a trade show, you have the ability to human interaction. You can't replace it. You can't replace shaking someone's hand, looking them in the eye, and taking them, going a step alongside and talk to them, and just being a person with these people. I mean, it's the greatest. There's nothing better than meeting new people, shaking their hand, giving them your business card, taking their business card, making sure that you take note of the person that they really are, and they remember it. I mean, I treat everybody how I want to get treated. I treat everybody the exact same way, and you can do that over video, but it's 100 times better in person.
I would
And
agree.
that's coming from a robotics guy saying that. So, this is powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Right, We run the robots, they don't run us.
Exactly. I definitely think that there is a balance, between robotics and that human touch,
Mhm.
and kind of meeting in the middle and seeing where we can get to together with the both of those. So what role do these events play in helping robotics companies stay competitive and informed? And then for David, what does it happen for the packaging industry?
Okay.
So your question was what? I'm so sorry.
Oh, yeah, of course. So, Josh, what role do these events play in helping robotics companies that you work with stay competitive and informed?
So with the robotics companies that I saw, and I was really paying attention, where there's mixed booths. So you have a robotic company in a client's booth and a client's booth in a robotics company. So you see packaging and palletizing and induction and parcel and pick and end of arm tooling on a robot. So you get a chance to see all the aspects of the robot in play, whether it's in food and beverage, whether it's in pharmacy, whether it's in semiconductor or aerospace or automotive. You have the ability to see everything work together in one. So the robot has the ability to enhance the other company's business, and the other company has the ability to use the robot to enhance their business. So it works in conjunction and hand in hand.
And then, David, in turn, how does that apply to packaging?
Um, but ask the question once again too, just so I can
Yes,
hear
of
it.
course. So, what role do these events like Pack Expo or other
Right.
trade
Okay.
shows help companies, especially in the packaging industry, stay competitive and informed?
Right. Okay. Yeah. So similar, Josh, I think it helps the companies because they do have their competitors all on the show floor. They do walk around and look and see what's happening. There's a lot of announcements made at the show. A lot of times when companies come out with new technology, new products, whatever, it's in the show dailies and things like that. So it's helpful, I think, for everyone to be there at one place to get all this information, to learn, to see what's happening, and stay current with the packaging business. And this is a great venue and place for that.
Yeah, fantastic. So, as recruiters, we talked a lot about trade shows and the importance of them. Is there any final thoughts that you'd like to give on trade shows in general?
I
Josh.
mean, with COVID, how it happened and how it canceled all the trade shows, and I missed a couple just for some health reasons. To get back and to go and to do it and to be part of it all, I don't think there's anything better. I think you could, like I said earlier, you can do Zoom calls or Teams calls or whatever. But with the trade shows and when other people are advancing their businesses and they figure out that they really need something that they didn't know that they really need, and they have the ability to go see it and watch it and realize, and that light bulb goes off and be like, this is exactly what I was looking for. But you
Hmm.
wouldn't know that unless you go to a trade show and see it. So I see, seeing is believing. And when you have the ability or when you have the need and you find a way to fill that need with something you see at a trade show, nothing's better.
Yeah.
Fantastic. David, any
And
additional?
for me personally, for those that know me, I am not a frequent flyer. I don't get on planes very often. So one thing that I love about the trade shows is I could be there for 2 or 3 days and everybody I want to see is in one place. So for me, it's very efficient. It makes sense to go to the trade shows, to be seen, to meet people and so forth. So for me, it's a great use of my time, again, as it can minimize my other travels throughout the year. So it's fantastic. And again, to be Josh and I were together with some other colleagues, it's just fun to be together, spend time together as a team out of the office. I think all the companies feel that way too. It's just a nice change of pace.
Fantastic. So moving forward, where can people find you? Are there any upcoming trade shows that each of you will be attending?
Josh?
I mean, for the rest of the year, I think I'm good, but I'll be at the A3 Business Forum in Orlando in January. And then I will be at, I believe ProMat is in April. And then Automate is in May. And then probably FabTech. I know IMTS is every other year. And then Pack Expo next year.
Beautiful. And David?
Yeah, well, I'll be great trade show for me next week. No travel. It's here in Cleveland for those that are going to be here at the Plastics Expo, so the recycling, compounding show at the convention center downtown. It's Wednesday, Thursday. You can find me there walking around, probably wearing this shirt, shaking hands and collecting business cards.
Beautiful. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today on the Executive Eye. And a huge thanks for sharing all of your insights from Pack Expo and giving myself and our listeners a closer look at what's happening in the packaging, plastics, and robotics industries. It's clear that both sectors are evolving quickly, and the enthusiasm and innovation we heard about today are a great reminder about the exciting opportunities ahead. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share, and stay tuned for more conversations with industry leaders. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys next time on the Executive Eye.
Thanks, Celeste.
Thanks,
Bye.
Celeste.
Thanks for tuning in to the Executive Eye by DRI. Stay connected with us for more insights on leadership and industry trends. Follow the Executive Eye on LinkedIn or visit our website at directrecruiters.com. Until next time, keep your eye on executive leadership.